This is Dr. Jerome Corsi. Today it is Thursday, September 19th, 2024. Thank you for joining us on thetruthcentral.com. We're doing podcasts every weekday. You can follow me on X at CorsiJerome1, and on Substack, it's JeromeCorsiPhD.substack.com. Now, the God's Five Stones is being worked on. We had a hack yesterday, and so it's under attack. But we'll get the site back and working today. And take a look at God's Five Stones. When it's back up, it's got a lot of information on these modules that are being placed in the state databases, the voter databases. Now, what's going on, I think, and I want to focus on this theme for a bit, because I was watching some of the Trump rally last night and looking at the chaos going on in the country, chaos going on in the world. And it seems to me that we're into just one of these really dark places right now. Take a look at what's going on in the Middle East. Now we've got the attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon. And they're pretty devious attacks. The Israelis have learned how to blow up these devices, these pagers and other devices that are being carried around by Hezbollah. So they're killing and maiming Hezbollah. And it's not an actual attack as such, and that there's no missiles being launched, there's no army being launched. This is a kind of a bizarre type of attack, which is, unique in history, that you can blow up all the devices of another country or another group and injure or maim them, which is what's going on. At the same time, Israel's systematically clearing out Gaza, and that's not stopping. So Israel is now in a period of time where it's dealing with survival. And survival for Israel is existential, because what Israel faces all the time in the Middle East is the potential of a war that could wipe Israel off the map. Israel is a relatively small country. Now, it is technologically advanced. That's been Israel's greatest strength over the last 50 or so years. Israel is technologically advanced. And so therefore it has weaponry that Iran does not have, or that Saudi Arabia does not have. And as such, it can defend itself. But the point is, Israel's in a situation where the entire Muslim world would just as soon it went away. And in fact, Iran is dedicated to that objective. And Iran then becomes the terrorist state in the whole region. I've been writing about this since 2006. There's really nothing new here. It's just the same old theme. The same old theme is that the Palestinian people are a fiction. That's because you have to have a Palestinian people to oppose the Jewish state in Israel, under the whole narrative that when Israel was created, the Palestinians were thrown out. They weren't thrown out. Most of them didn't leave. Okay, so again, the lies after lies after lies after lies that have gone on in the Middle East have just been astounding, and Israel has managed to survive under constant duress. Now, these attacks going on in Lebanon, to me, are an expansion of the war, which is now regional, because we've had attacks going on into Iran. We've had attacks now going on in Gaza, which is Hamas. Hamas is being systematically eliminated, as I'm saying. But the point is that there's no real end in sight here. This is going to be a constant grinding battle, and there is no victory point, because even if Israel does manage to push back Hamas and Hezbollah and all the rest of them, the animosity only intensifies. Because now a whole new group of people are killed, and a whole new group of resentments are created, and a whole new determination to get rid of Israel is fueled. And Israel's still going to continue to survive and continue to thrive technologically, small population, but Israel itself is divided internally. We've got a very strong leftist faction in Israel that wants to make peace and thinks they can cooperate and coexist with the Muslim states like Iran, even though it's probably not possible. Okay, that's that situation. Now you've got the next situation with Ukraine. And Ukraine goes back to, as I'm saying, going back to Hillary Clinton, 2013. The Clinton Foundation began accepting money from Pinochet, who is one of the oligarchs in Ukraine. And the whole Obama administration said to Hillary, well, you can be Secretary of State. You can have the Clinton Foundation. You can have your private email server. You can have Bill Clinton, who's former president, run the foundation, and then you can make money through the foundation. And then Joe Biden comes along and says, what about me? Well, Joe, you can be our roving ambassador to Ukraine. If you go to Ukraine at the same time, Hillary's going to go to Ukraine, and you can work with Burisma, and your son can work with Burisma, because we want to create a Ukrainian natural gas industry to compete with Gazprom in Russia. And that's part of the objective of the CIA. And so therefore you can be on a CIA mission and you can get billions of dollars and you can put them in your pocket. Don Rebellion is going to get rid of Yanukovych, who is a duly elected president of Ukraine, but he's favorable to Putin because he comes from these two Russian-speaking provinces that are on the east of Ukraine. Okay, and Ukraine is a divided country. Ukraine, half a country is in the west is allied with Germany, and the east is allied with Russia. Half the country speaks more German, the other half of the country speaks more Russian, and they both speak Ukrainian. Now, as this war goes on, so the Maidan rebellion comes about, and the State Department's throwing Yanukovych. They put in Poroshenko. Poroshenko's new president. He starts using these Nazi brigades in the western part of Ukraine, aligned to Germany, to go and attack the Russian freedom fighters who want these two provinces in the east to be aligned with Russia. And so therefore it becomes a civil war, which again is unreported in the United States. And then you get Zelensky in there, and the Biden administration begins ramping up this whole pressure to not have any agreements with Russia on these two provinces. And Russia wants access also to the Black Sea, wants Russia access to Sevastopol, which is this large port on the Black Sea, wants Crimea, which is strategically important. And of course, the Ukrainians want to join NATO, which is insane because this is right on the edge of Russia. And we come in, we put, Wuhan type plants, bioweapons plants on the border with Russia. We had the CIA put 35 bases along the border with Russia in Ukraine. We think this is not provocative. Russia's just supposed to sit there and take this. And so therefore what we do is we provoke a war. So Putin evades after an agreement that has been reached on these two provinces going more independent, has been broken apart by Boris Johnson and by Obama and by the State Department, all of whom I think increasingly want nuclear war. They keep ramping up, sending more and more arms to Ukraine, more and more weaponry, more and more advanced weaponry. Some of them F-16s, they get shot down because the pilots aren't trained to be effective with them. And so now we're going to do long-range missiles into Russia. And Putin says that'll be an act of war. He'll be at war with NATO. So now we've got a war going on in the Middle East. We've got a war going on in NATO. Either one could go regional, could go nuclear. Certainly with Israel defending itself, it could go nuclear if Israel feels a threat from Iran that could be in any way destructive to the state of Israel. And more civilians are being killed. And again, that's what started it all when Gaza attacked in October. It came over and had the attack on the citizens of Israel. The whole thing is a mess. And as we headlong into a World War III situation, which is what this involves, the prospect of nuclear war becomes more and more real. And I'm seeing that prospect developing. Now, I don't know that we'll have a nuclear war before the election, but it could be the October surprise. And I keep thinking it'll be the October surprise. So just cancel the election if it looks like Kamala is going to lose, which most likely she will. Unless, of course, the Democrats can cheat enough in order to win, which they're planning to do with these algorithms that are placed into the state board of election databases to be able to register non-existent voters, which is what the Democrats want to do. I think Democrats have decided they're finished with elections. They don't want any more elections. They don't want to lose. They want to be in power. They want to win. And they want the rest of us to be under their subjugation. Now, if that's not all enough, then we open the borders and we let in the Haitians and we let in the criminals from South America. We let in the drug dealers, and the CIA runs the drug trade and it runs pedophilia. And pedophilia is increasingly okay. And so therefore the LGBT, these are just minor attracted adults who are, we don't call them, this is not pedophilia anymore. This is minor attraction, sexual minor attraction. It's supposed to be normal. Now, in this whole mess, you've got Antifa, you've got the potential of violence in the streets. We could go have constant riots if we wanted to again have that experience. I mean, it's to me unimaginable how the United States has gotten to this stage where we're basically in chaos. And the solution to it, which is God and returning to values, I listened to a Donald Trump speech and they're very hopeful. They're very positive. And he's right. The Democrats are lying all the time. But the chaos that's created, the tension, this whole, potential disaster every minute, every turn you take. And now the Federal Reserve kind of lowers points, takes down interest rates a half a point to boost the economy and give Kamala another push, which will only return inflation. So, Chris, let's get a dialogue going on this. What do you think of all this? I mean, I'm just reviewing all this in my mind and saying, this is the way we start out the day, and it's not a particularly pleasant sight.
And it's not even close to a pleasant sight. We're watching wars escalate all over the world, and again, we talked about this a few months ago. I believe people like Putin and yes, the terrorists in Hezbollah, the Ayatollah in Iran, they all know they only have a few months left to play around because the babysitter America has been asleep at the wheel for a long enough time. They're probably afraid somebody with a little more power and who's not afraid to use some leverage that our nation has will come in and start forcing some de-escalation, if you will. So they figured, hey, and even President Xi is watching. Excuse me, President Xi is watching all of this as well from China. He's I mean, you saw what what he's been doing with the Philippines. He's been trying to strong arm their fishermen. They're trying to take control of the South China Sea. So they're doing all of this knowing they have a very, very short window left until somebody else comes in. I'm sure they hope it's Kamala, but I'm pretty sure they know or I'm pretty sure they think it's not going to be.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it depends on how much they can steal
There you
and
go.
how effective they're going to
Wonderful.
be stealing. I mean, that's how much, and you get the stealings being already triggered. The New York Times is writing articles that, no, there's going to be a red mirage,
Yep.
and the voting is going to take longer to report than normal, and it's going to be again another delay before we know who's president.
Yeah. Preparing us for another 2002 scenario. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, or another scenario where suddenly all the ballots come in late, all the mail-in ballots, and everything changes overnight. These are scenarios American people have seen, and I think are highly suspicious of, and they don't carry the weight of authenticity. No, but if
Well,
you dare challenge them again, then you've got the FBI knocking on your door.
that's true. That's the plan they want. Hey, Hillary Clinton said that too. She wants to incarcerate people who, let's just say, speak out against the government. Because I'm paraphrasing her on this, but that's basically, in essence, what she said.
Well, I mean, the insanity we're going through right now can't last forever because it has
Uh,
to either get more insane and then we have some catastrophe, or people come to their senses and we stop this nonsense. but I don't see it stopping easily.
No, we can only hope people come to their senses. And again, like you said, the chances of that are pretty slim if you're seeing all these people just mesmerized by Kamala Harris for some reason. I'm pretty sure it's been overstated, but just having even a small amount of people falling for uh, this particular campaign strategy is astounding.
Okay, so we take a look at the news of what's going on today, and if we take a look at zero hedge, which I sometimes like to do just to balance, get some sensible balance here. So the futures now are going to all-time highs after the Fed cut, because big party. FBI reveals that Iran hacked the Trump campaign materials and gave them to Biden Harris. Now, so now we've got the Biden Harris claiming they're victims, even though they're the ones who got the material from Iran. And of course, did Iran do the hack, or is this more disinformation? Okay, again,
Going to claim it. Yeah, of course. It's always disinformation. Oh, Zero Hedge is a conservative outlet. It's disinformation. They're always going to play the victim. And you know why? Because it works.
Yeah, well, I mean, Harris campaign referring to itself as victims when they received the leaks from Trump's campaign is really perfect in calculation, both of the gaslighting and the nonstop victimhood. Okay, that's someone named Sonny saying it. It's true. Okay, on this whole idea that if it's not Iran, it's Russia. Brussels warns of Apple of the antitrust fines over its iOS restrictions for developers. Well, that's also developing. We see the electric vehicles are dead, which we've spent now 2 or 3 years or 4 years talking about electric vehicles. And we're going to have, by 2030, we're going to have 50% or more of all our cars are going to be electric vehicles. Well, they don't work. We didn't build the charging stations. The batteries blow up and burn.
That's okay. That's okay, because the government has come up with something better. The Harris, if you didn't notice, a little deeper down in the Harris campaign website, you're going to find that the alternative that she's proposing and her campaign is proposing to the electronic vehicles is to take out motors of every car and batteries. You don't need them anymore because every car is going to be reinstalled with a key that you can put in the back near the trunk, and you wind it up every 35 miles if you want to go somewhere.
And the Democratic Party, the vice presidential candidate and his wife, these two are insane. I mean, do you have that clip of her playing, when she was going about, let's turn the page. We're going to turn the page. Turn the page. I mean,
See if I can find that.
If you can find it.
Okay. Paul's wife, turn the page.
Turn the page.
There we go. I mean, the funny thing is turning the page. You should turn the page on this administration. That's what she's really saying.
Yeah, so that's what she's saying.
Yeah. Let me go find it. Actually, I have to sift through a couple of video commercials so we can speak for a little longer as soon as I can get this up here. That's the killer.
That's okay. I mean, then we got this David Muir, and so the American people have had it with all this long-range propaganda by the media. And so ABC's now viewing is down.
Well, that might be a normal bump downward, but it's clear that Muir and the other broad, the Harris's sorority sister, if you will, they were clearly in the tank for Harris, and I believe they were under orders from the boss that set them up, Harris and the husband, and of course George Stephanopoulos. This is why. I mean, it's obvious why Kamala Harris would only agree to that debate under the Biden rules, and then wanted to change them, then got stuck with them. Still, she knew the deck was going to be stacked toward her. She wouldn't even do one on on another network, Fox or any other network. It was obvious she only wanted to do ABC, and this is likely because she knew everything was going to be stacked in her favor.
Well, it was, and she was right.
Want to turn the page?
Let's turn the page. Okay, so now we got record 2 points.
We had to turn the page, right? Yeah, because we have something really exciting headed in our direction. But I kind of liked it when she did this. Turn the page.
It's wax on, wax off.
Okay, so I need you to be with me and practice with me, what are we going to do? We're going to turn the page. We're pretty good. Do it again. We're going to turn the page. And we're going to turn the page.
Well, what is this with Democrat women and the need to talk to their supporters as if they were in kindergarten?
I don't, and all these voices that in these accents that they come up with.
Yeah.
I mean, Kamala, Pamela, whatever her name is, she's sounding like a Haitian, then she's sounding like she's Creole, then she's black, then she's this one and that one.
The Southern was great.
Southern one's great.
Y'all. Even Hillary pulled that stuff off better.
Not much better, but she did. Hillary tried it too. Hillary's, but they've gotten to be stereotypes of themselves.
Right. They're parodies. Yes.
They're parodies. And the Truman Show is just rampant. I mean, what's authentic about any of this? None of this is authentic.
Well, that's the funny thing. The Democrats have always staked their fortunes, staked their campaigns from, we can say the 1960 debate was where they learned it, the TV debate between Kennedy and Nixon. But from the Clinton onward, the Democrats have staked their political survival on optics and on trying to evoke emotion from people. The problem is they always seem to fail when a candidate tries to fake an accent, because this hurts this hurts the optics emotional thing, because it turns around on them. But people look at them and say, at least, it only takes 5% of people, or a few percentage points of people in swing states to say, boy, these people are phony. And that's it.
Well, they are phony.
Game over for them.
Okay, and so now, then you've got the 20 supporters behind Trump on backstage. They were rushed to the ER with blurred vision and eye burns in a rally in Tucson. So what are they doing now? They're blasting the people who are behind Trump with some kind of rays that are affecting their eyes. I mean, this is insanity.
And it's I know there are other pundits who say a civil war is coming. I believe we were fighting it for a long time. It's just coming to a head. It's more of an informational propaganda civil war. But we're going to have it's going to start looking like the EU sometime soon, where a bunch of weirdos are going to be throwing paint on whatever painting they feel like throwing on. We're going to have people who are emboldened to go to, like you said, Trump rallies and cause problems, shoot at them, throw gas if that's what happened. But these people are going to be more emboldened as the next few weeks come forward.
And the Pope is saying, okay, all religions are paths to God. Okay, all religions, like different languages that express the divine. God is for everyone, therefore we are all God's children.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
all of them.
All of them.
Okay, because if I remember, Anton LaVey has a religion here, or had a religion here, established one. Was it the Satanism? I don't think that's a path to God.
Well, it's just we have to include these, these marginalized minorities like Satan.
Right, I suppose. Or you probably remember this guy over here. There are a lot of people who follow Bob Dobbs. Do you remember the Church of the Subgenius? The kind of the joke. Well, maybe Bob Dobbs is the true path to heaven. I mean, think about it. The guy has a nice smile, cool hair, and a pipe. That's the American dream right there. But is Bob Dobbs the path to heaven according to the Pope?
Well, the Pope's on to everybody is this LGBT agenda is what the Pope's about, and the Pope wants the LGBT agenda, the marginalized minorities. This is the Synod movement. We have to have the bishops out talking to all these, and then find a place for them in the church, so we can have the transvestite.
Transvestite. That's a good one.
The transvestites over here. I don't know what they do, but they must give birth to some weirdo creation. The transvestites.
Well, there's what was it? There's another religion out there that might be another path to God. Again, according to the Pope, because he knows everything. The people that follow the spaghetti monster. That's another religion around that popped up around here. So maybe that's again. I would hope there's a lot of spaghetti and meatballs in heaven, because I'd be happy with that.
Well, he said, my God is more okay. So all religions are paths to God. He said, I will use an analogy. They are like different languages that express the divine, but God is for everyone, and therefore we are all God's children. But my God is more important than yours. Is that true? No, because they said these religions, some Sikh, some Muslim, some Hindu, some Christian, these are all paths to reach God. Okay, and so therefore we have to accept all these different religions. None's better than the other. So therefore, it doesn't make any difference whether it's steak or it's pork or it's chicken. It's all meat. So therefore, or it's all vegetables. All vegetables are paths to health. I mean, these, the insanity of this inclusion, this DEI. We have to include. We have to be fair. Everything has to be equal. You can't have. All these ideas are architected as destructive, and they're intended to destroy. That's the problem. And so the books I've been writing, which sometimes I feel like, I've been writing now for so many years and thinking it's going to do some good. And then realizing, how few people are reading. I'm so now censored that, look at my X. I can't get 5,000 people on X.
Well, we did start from 0, so we're doing okay. You're getting a few good bumps here and there, but yes, if you're listening and not following Dr. Corsi on X, a lot of cool stuff there. We have fun. You can find some of the shows live. Might be easy to we live stream on X too, and you have this a lot of other kind of special things going on there. So try it. It's Corsi Jerome 1. That's at Corsi Jerome 1. Very easy to find. But again, if you're listening, and it's also in the description if you're listening to the program or watching it on Rumble, YouTube, BitChute, or wherever you get your video audio podcasts.
And look, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. And look, now gold is at $2,500 at 83 cents. 25.83.54. $2,583.55. It is 5 cents. Okay, so that's. I've been saying, we were talking about gold when it was $1,900 an ounce. And do go to Swiss America. I mean, I keep telling people, you're going to miss out on an historic gold rush. It's starting. And I'm going to give you the number to get this free book, which is 800-519-6268, How Coming Global Crash Will Create an Historic Gold Rush. It's in the process of happening now. The things that are happening right now are the economy is going to crash. We're going to have a massive, massive crash. I don't know how we're going to handle all the debt that's around. That's going to be a massive problem. Secondly, we've got 2 major wars, and Taiwan is on the brink. So we're going to have massive wars, economic downturn and war. So far, it sounds like a lot of fun. Then our cities are chaos, not safe. We got a massive drug problem and homeless problem, and the Democrats are in charge.
Yeah. See, notice the coincidence there.
Yeah, right. It's insanity. It's like the lunatics are running the asylum, and there's no way to get it back under control.
It's gone too far in that respect. The only way the best we can do is maybe kind of temper it a little bit. And it's going to take a very, very long time. Well, hey, Agenda 21 and Agenda 30 took a long time or is taking a long time for these people to reach. And we only seem to be able to hold it back every a few years each time around. But I guess that's the way we have to do it as voters. Just say, hey, this has to stop. This has to end. Meanwhile, the world, the deep state, and of course the World Economic Forum will say, "All right, well, you guys win this round. We're going to come back in 4 years.
Yeah,
we'll
right.
just delay this another 8 to 9." But
we're never going to give up on our agenda. We're going to enslave you all. That's all that's coming. We're going to enslave everybody.
Well, that's the plan. But by the time the next 2 generations start taking charge here, a lot of them won't know American history, German history.
They'll be so dumbed down they won't know anything.
That's exactly, and they'll fall into something like this because they don't know what happened in the past. We don't know what these people are up to.
Look, in the end, God always wins. God's going to win here too, and we'll get the website going back. We'll get all the websites restored, including God's 5 Stones today. And the chaos that we're going to experience is going to last for a while. And I hope it doesn't go into World War III. But in the end, God will win. Doesn't mean everybody who's now, think that they're going to win. A lot of people here still support taking out the right to life proposition out of the GOP platform. But if you go to God's Five Stones and see this current scam, I think you begin to realize the intelligence agencies want to run the elections. You can see what a mess we're in. Dr. Jerome Corsi, I implore you to, in the spirit of 2 Chronicles 7:14, let's get on our knees and ask God to forgive us for letting it get to this insanity. But God will win. God's sovereign. It's just we're going to go through some very, very difficult times. This is Dr. Jerome Corsi today. It's Thursday. It's September 19th, 2024. We're in the middle of an election season that's abbreviated, but going on anyway. And I'm praying that Donald Trump will win, because with Kamala, we'll have just more of the same crisis, and one after the other crisis that never stops. Thank you for joining us. This is thetruthcentral.com. We'll be back tomorrow.